From days of long ago comes a legend.
You have walked into the room of Fireback Radio. You can find us online at firebackradio.com. And of course, I'm your host, Brother Marquise. Now, what you just heard was Bill Clinton. That was President Bill Clinton from, what is that, October 3rd, 1995. And this was in reference to, this is his remarks on human radiation experiments conducted by the United States government. Now, the reason why I'm playing this is simply because you need to understand that there is a baseline here for distrust of the American government. I have a high distrust, born with it, oozing of it. And when it comes to what has taken place over the last several years, everybody was fussing and, you have to, listen, I've heard people say, I trust the government because I think they know what they're doing. And I think they're here to help us because that's what they're supposed to do. Now, are you crazy? The government is there. I mean, if everything worked the way it was supposed to, then yes, I would probably have to go with that. Because then, we have people who are there for our benefit. After all, they do represent us. Right? They're supposed to be the best of us. But as it turns out, they are the absolute worst. A lot of these politicians come in only making $100,000 a year, leave making trillions of dollars. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. I think Obama even came in, and once he left, my man was bankrolling. Every president was bankrolling. Every last one of them bankroll. Well, I think Donald Trump, he came in with money. If anything, he probably lost money on him. I think, as a matter of fact, I think that is true. I think Donald Trump is probably the only president in a long time who actually came in rich, left out little less rich. But getting back to this, Bill Clinton's remarks on human radiation experiments. Now, I'm going to play this in its entirety. I'm going to play this, and I want you to listen to exactly what he is saying, because this still rings true to this day. And Bill Clinton actually talks about things being ethical and unethical. And he realizes that the things that took place during the Cold War era, pre-atomic age, when they were testing atomic bombs and the like, he understood that the United States did some jacked up stuff. But what's crazy is some of it they approved, some of it they disapproved, some of it they turned a blind eye. Now, I'm going to just say, Bill Clinton wanted this open book discussion, if you will, to be a watchlight. Well, Mr. Clinton, El Presidente, the watchlight has burned out, and informed consent has also burned out. And the people's trust in government has died. And that is apparent and will become more apparent once more of the information involving the vaccine and COVID comes out. And for those who don't know, I'm not going to say I'm an anti-vaxxer. No, I'm not going to say that. However, when it comes to COVID, it just seems like something was not right. You can go back and listen to some of those podcasts when I was like, it's like, no, something's not right. You guys, and folks are just lining up. You know what I'm saying? Lining up like it's buy one, get one free down at the Cheeseburger Shack. You know what I'm saying? They were lining up for it. But I'm going to play it. Listen to President Clinton as he actually tells you exactly what you just went through from 2019 to 2023 and beyond. You're listening to Fireback Radio. This is Brother Marquise.
What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Faden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. In one scientist injected plutonium into 18 patients without their knowledge. In another, doctors exposed indigent cancer patients to excessive doses of radiation, a treatment from which it is virtually impossible that they could ever benefit. The report also demonstrates that these and other experiments were carried out on precisely those citizens who count most on the government for its help, the destitute and the gravely ill. But the dispossessed were not alone. Members of the military, precisely those on whom we and our government count most, they were also test subjects. Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment, and that was wrong. Those who led the government when these decisions were made are no longer here to take responsibility for what they did. They're not here to apologize to the survivors, the family members of the communities whose lives were darkened by the shadow of the atom and these choices. So today, on behalf of another generation of American leaders and another generation of American citizens, the United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities. When the government does wrong, we have a moral responsibility to admit it. The duty we owe to one another to tell the truth and to protect our fellow citizens from excesses like these is one we can never walk away from. Our government failed in that duty, and it offers an apology to the survivors and their families, and to all the American people who must be able to rely upon the United States to keep its word, to tell the truth, and to do the right thing. We know there are moments when words alone are not enough. That's why I'm instructing my cabinet to use and build on these recommendations, to devise promptly a system of relief, including compensation that meets the standards of justice and conscience. When called for, we will work with Congress to serve the best needs of those who were harmed. Make no mistake, as the committee report says, there are circumstances where compensation is appropriate as a matter of ethics and principle. I am committed to seeing to it that the United States of America lives up to its responsibility. Our greatness is measured not only in how we so frequently do right, but also how we act when we know we've done the wrong thing, how we confront our mistakes, make our apologies, and take action. That's why this morning I signed an executive order instructing every arm and agency of our government that conducts, supports, or regulates research involving human beings to review immediately their procedures in light of the recommendations of this report and the best knowledge and standards available today, and to report back to me by Christmas. I've also created a Bioethics Advisory Commission to supervise the process, to watch over all such research, and to see to it that never again do we stray from the basic values of protecting our people and being straight with them. The report I received today will not be left on a shelf to gather dust. Every one of its pages offers a lesson, and every lesson will be learned from these good people who put 1.5 years of their lives into the effort to set America straight. Medical and scientific progress depends upon learning about people's responses to new medicines, to new cutting-edge treatments. Without this kind of research, our children would still be dying from polio and other killers. Without responsible radiation research, we wouldn't be making the progress we are in the war on cancer. We have to continue to research, but there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. There are local citizens review boards. There are regulations that establish proper informed consent and ensure that experiments are conducted ethically. But in overseeing this necessary research, we must never relax our vigilance. The breathtaking advances in science and technology demand that we always keep our ethical watchlight burning. No matter how rapid the pace of change, it can never outrun our core convictions that have stood us so well as a nation for more than 200 years now, through many different scientific revolutions. I believe we will meet the test of our times, that as science and technology evolve, our ethical conscience will grow, not shrink. Informed consent, community right to know, our entire battery of essential human protections, all these grew up in response to the health and humanitarian crises of this 20th century. They are proof that we are equal to our challenges. Science is not ever simply objective. It emerges from the crucible of historical circumstances and personal experience. Times of crisis and fear can call forth bad science, even science we know in retrospect to be unethical. Let us remember the difficult years chronicled in this report and think about how good people could have done things that we know were wrong. Let these pages serve as an internal reminder to hold humility and moral accountability in higher esteem than we do the latest development in technology. Let us remember, too, that cynicism about government has roots in historical circumstances. Because of stonewallings and evasions in the past, times when a family member or a neighbor suffered an injustice and had nowhere to turn and couldn't even get the facts, some Americans lost faith in the promise of our democracy. Government was very powerful, but very far away and not trusted to be ethical. So today, by making ourselves accountable for the sins of the past, I hope more than anything else, we are laying the foundation stone for a new era. Good people like these members of Congress who have labored on this issue for a long time and have devoted their careers to trying to do the right thing and having people justifiably feel confidence in the work of their representatives. They will continue to work to see that we implement these recommendations. And under our watch, we will no longer hide the truth from our citizens. We will act as if all that we do will see the light.
We all know that's a
of
lie.
day. Nothing that happens in Washington will ever be more important in anyone's life affected by these experiments, perhaps, than these reports we issue today. But all of us as Americans will be better off because of the larger lesson we learned in this exercise and because of our continuing effort to demonstrate to our people that we can be faithful to their values. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So basically what you just heard was just an admission that the government cannot be trusted. That was Bill Clinton. Back in the day, when he was telling you about radiation, the illegal testing of radiation on the population. Now, if you want to know a bit more, why don't you just do a dog pile search, Google, whatever you're fancy. Search it up of how government experiments on the population. And you will come out of there shocked at how many instances where the government actually has done that. And then later on come out and be like, well, we were just experimenting and we're sorry. Now, mind you, you have people who are still sick to this day and who have died because of that. I mean, for me, the whole Tuskegee experiment, right? I mean, what else? I don't need much more after that. I mean, my people have come through all of that bullcrap. And so, yes, I have a keen eye to keep one or two eyes on government because they don't work for me, as they like to say. They're always bragging about, we're all about the people. Well, the government sucks. And you're stuck. You are stuck in a big taste of propaganda. And if you don't think propaganda actually is in the United States, then you are fooling yourself. Because if you talk to somebody outside of the country, they'll tell you that you Americans, you are very American-centric to where you don't even know what's really happening outside of the country. People outside of the country actually get real news about what's happening inside of the borders of the United States of America. And that's an embarrassment because we do live in a bubble. And when it comes to this COVID thing, everybody was encased in a bubble of lie, propaganda, fear. And that's how they got you. But I just wanted to kind of give you a taste of what is possible with the United States government because the game is rigged and it seems like it's going to be getting a whole lot worse. But it's up to you to pay attention. And you can't say you didn't know. I don't know. Because I told you. Myself and many others who sit on the wall can see both sides. And we are the watchmen. This is Brother Marquise on FlyerBackRadio.com.
Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment, and that was wrong.